beautiful night. And my story, I was just driving over and I was trying to think of overnight things. But I worked overnight for like 12 years. I worked what they would call the night shift for a major utility in Philadelphia. And I worked a lot of Christmas Eves into Christmas. And usually beginning on Christmas Eve with my family, my wife, my in-laws, my family would come over, and my wife would always have delicious roast pork and macaroni salad or chicken wings, and it was such a nice feeling to be there, for Christmas Eve, enjoyable. And then I would go out. My work took me at 11 to 7, late at night, and I was, I was always in a good mood, and I was so grateful to have a job, even though it was Christmas Eve and I had to leave. I would say, hey man, I got a job, man. It's beautiful. Because I was a fella that didn't like to work regularly until I was about 30, and I had to look in the mirror because rent needs to get paid, fellas, eventually. It does. So a boy into man. But anyway, my job, I work for a major utility company dealing in accidents, emergencies, and you're on call. You're in the truck, you got the computer going. It's Christmas Eve, you're hearing little Christmas tunes on there, and you're with a nice fellow, there's two of us. And I get this call in South Philadelphia, and I go to the house, and we go in. There was an emergency with the gas range, and we shut it off. I told my buddy was upstairs. I said, I'll go downstairs, man. And I opened the door, and immediately I had an odor. It came to me, and it was urine. It's not a funny story, this one, but it was my Christmas Eve, and it's true. And I went down into the basement. And there was a fellow sitting in a couch with about 8 40s, surrounded by 40s. And I went in and I had to take care of something. And I had to go back upstairs, and I told my buddy, just stay here, man. I'll go downstairs. And the fellow was sitting there. His mother and his sister were upstairs cooking a nice Christmas dinner. And this fellow was celebrating the Christmas probably the only way he knew how for the past couple of years. And these 40s were not filled with beer. They were not filled with beer. They were filled with urine. And the smell was very prevalent. I looked over at him, I said, hey man, what's up? And he looked at me, like, I know what's up, you know what's up. And I said, hey man, I said, it's Christmas, dude. I said, it's a bitch going up to that second floor, man, having after your favorite beverage and loading up. I said, it's a bitch, man. He looked at me and he says, yeah. I said, I know, man, I know all about this stuff, man. I said, it's Christmas, dude. I said, give yourself a break today. It's Christmas, man, come on. And he's looking at me. And I said, listen, many, many Christmases I didn't give myself a break, dude. I said, you give yourself a break today. You listen to Mark, man. I said, and he stood up and I said, listen, dude. I said, you got mom upstairs, you got your sister over there, man. I said, cut him some slack today, man. Don't drive him crazy. And listen, if this knucklehead right here can do it, you can do it, dude. So he looked at me and I gave him a hug, and I went upstairs. I said goodbye to the people, and we left. So, my buddy said, what was up? I said, nothing, man. I said, misery is what was up, but I didn't tell him that. But anyway, he gave me a hug. I walked out of there just like grateful that I had a house to go to at the end of the night, and grateful that I had sausage and I had a wife and I have a wonderful family. But so the rest of the night, Christmas Eves are always weird, but the last gig, the last job, emergency comes up, and you're going to this job, and I pull up around 26th and Dickinson on this little street, and there were two people, elderly people. They weren't that old. They were drinking beer and having fun. It must have been 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So thank God they called. They should have called the water department, but they called us. And I realized how, thank God, I'm going to be home in a little while. My night is almost over. And there was a flood in the basement next door, and they thought it was something related to gas. And thank God it wasn't. And I was so glad because I knew I was going to be home in a little while. So I'm getting ready to go back in my truck, and there's this trash-strewn lot with couches and toilets and bureaus and trash, and all of a sudden this thing comes out. I mean, this beautiful lab shepherd mix. I'm saying, what's up, man? He's wiggling his tail, female, looking at me. I said, what is up, man? I said, oh well. Threw him in the truck, take him home. I got these big cages. I'm a social worker for animals. I love animals. People are okay. This is St. Francis over here for the animals, by the way. But anyway, I take this little gorilla home, man. I put him in the cage. I said, got the best Christmas present in the world. And my wife said, another one? Because it's one among many. But anyway, this dog, throughout my network that I know and love, and I call people, and a couple had just lost a dog about 4 months before that, and their son comes over. And this nicest guy in the world, I mean, he comes over, the dog jumps on his lap. This dog was from heaven, man. believe me. And I tried to find who it belonged to, but to no avail. But anyway, the dog jumps on his lap. He fell in love with the dog. His parents love the dog. This dog is called Sophie. The dog lives in 5th and Delancey right now. There's like a big window on the 2nd floor. And Sophie looks, and she don't know who I am, but she loves her home. And I say, you know what, man? Who can ask for a better Christmas Eve? And you can. Thank you.